This is a video on the imperative, which is in Oxford chapter 8. Here's some sentences from chapter 8 in the story. Intra urbem, enter the city. Portas claudite, close the gates. Noli extra muros manet, don't stay outside the walls. These all contain a verb that's in the imperative form. And the rest of this video will talk about how those are formed and how we can translate them. So we will start with, scrolling down, we're going to start with what's an imperative. When you give somebody a command, you're using an imperative, even in English. So when you say sit down, run in a circle, do your homework, all these things in red, and I'm going to make this thing red right here. All these things in red are imperatives. Sit, run, do. You can also make negative imperatives by beginning with don't. Don't sit there. Don't run in the halls. Don't forget your pencil. All of these things are in red here are imperatives. Note that in English we express a command by omitting the subject. In all of these things, sit down, run in a circle, do your homework, we understand you as a subject. Hey you, sit down. Hey you, don't sit there. We're not talking about somebody who's third person. We're not talking about first person. In English we really can't do it that way. It has to be second person. Note also, it says here that we don't distinguish whether we're talking about one person or to many people. So I could be saying, hey John, sit down. There's only one John, sit down. Hey all you people. All you people could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 600. We still say in each one, sit down and sit down. Okay? Absolutely the same in that sit. Now let's talk about Latin. To form the singular imperative in Latin, the singular imperative in Latin, we begin with the infinitive and then just take off the final RE. So this is the rule right here. Begin with the infinitive and just take off the final RE. Remember that. So in the first conjugation, we're going to start with parare, take off that RE in blue, and we're left with para, which means prepare. To make the plural, we're going to add te to the singular. So for example, para is going to go to parate, parate, which implies that, hey y'all, prepare. You won't always, in Latin, hear a y'all. It won't be written necessarily, but you know because this te right here is on it, that it's going to be prepare to a lot of people rather than one person. There's an exception to this simply adding the te. In the third and third IO, we are going to change the final E of the singular to an I and then add TE. So let's see how it goes here. You try. Monere is going to go to what in the singular. So you might want to pause the video here because I'm going to give you the answer. Mone. And the plural, again, pause the video if you want some time. Monete. And there we go. The third now, for regere, remember that this is third, and so this exception holds true, but not yet. This is a singular. Rege. Now we have to pay attention to our exception. Regite is what we're going to end up with. Okay. And now, capere in the singular corresponds to the rule. Whoops. Cape. Only if I can type. Okay, and now in the plural, we've got our capite. Okay, that I again, just because we have the irregular thing going on here. Audire. In the singular, what's the rule? Corresponds to the rule. We drop the RE and we get Audi. In the plural, is there an exception here? No, because this is fourth, so it's going to be audite. Okay, so monere goes to mone. What does this mean? Well, it's the command. So mone and monete both equal warn or advise or something like that. Rege and regite both equal rule. Rule us well, O leader. Cape, capite, both mean take. Take this if you want. Whoops. Let's not put a plus, let's put that. Let's still not put a plus. Okay, audi, audite, both mean hear me, O people, or listen to me, O people. And that's what those are. Let's talk now about negative imperatives. They work a little bit differently. For negative imperatives, when you, like in English, when you have don't sit, don't stand, don't do this, don't do that, you use the words noli for the singular and nolite for the plural. Noli and nolite. These are all coming from the irregular verb nolo nole, which really means I refuse, or I am unwilling, or I don't want. It's the negative of volo, to want. So these are all imperatives of this verb. So when you tell someone in Latin, don't sit there, you're actually saying refuse to sit there. Be unwilling to sit there. Do not want to sit there. Notice that what follows refuse in this particular sentence is to sit, and that's an infinitive. And just in Latin, that's what exactly it will be. An infinitive, or the to form, always follows noli and nolite. So this is something that people forget all the time. An infinitive follows it. People ask all the time, well, why is there an infinitive following that? It's because it really means I refuse or I am unwilling. So, let's see some examples here. If you're going to say don't prepare in the first conjugation, that would be noli parare. Now, how many people would that be talking to? One. You're only talking to one person because it's noli. If it were plural, it would be nolite parare. Notice that parare doesn't change at all because an infinitive is an infinitive and it doesn't change. So that's what the plural would be here. What would the singular and plural negative imperatives of monere be? Well, if it's going to be singular, it's going to be noli, as always, and then monere. That's not going to change. How about the plural? Nolite for the plural. Does the infinitive change? No. It's monere again. Singular and plural negative imperatives are regere. Here's the singular. Pause it if you need more time. Noli regere. How about the plural? Can you guess? Nolite regere. Hey, notice how these infinitives are not changing at all because they're infinitives, and infinitives don't change. Here's your chance for the singular and plural of capere. Noli capere. Oops. How about a C on that capere? Okay. And the plural, nolite, capere. There we go. And now, audire, last one, noli, audire. I even spelled it right. Here's one, nolite, oops, audire is the plural. So there we go. You got your singular and your plural. Noli, what's it mean? Do you remember? Don't. Okay. Monere, how do I translate it? Warn or advise. I don't translate it to warn, okay, unless I'm going to say refuse to warn. Don't translate it that way. Simply translate these don't warn, don't warn, don't warn, don't rule, don't take, don't listen, or don't hear. And that's the way to do those. So in summary, for the singular, you begin with that infinitive and then just take off the final RE. To make it plural, generally speaking, you add TE to the singular, or you make it ITE in the third and third IO. Now, if you're going from Latin to English, this isn't going to be a big deal. You're not going to worry about whether that I is there or whether something else is there. If you see that TE, you know that it's a plural imperative. For negative imperatives, you're going to use the words noli for the singular, nolite for the plural, and really you have to know the difference between noli, this thing, and nolo, which is the first person singular. So nolo versus noli. Exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. Know that stuff. Thanks.